For VOA Learning English, this is the Science Report. British scientists say they have found the oldest known evidence of war. Researchers discovered the remains of 27 people during a dig near Lake Turkana in northern Kenya. Scientists say they believe the remains are from a Stone Age culture of about 10,000 years ago. The so-called Nataruk fossils show signs of a violent attack. The dig also uncovered weapons, including arrows, clubs, and stone blades. The scientists published a paper on their findings in the journal Nature. Marta Mirazón-Lar was the lead investigator. She studies human ancestors at the University of Cambridge in Britain. She wrote that the victims were people who hunted, fished, and gathered plants for food. She described the 10,000-year-old battle in which they were killed as a brutal attack. One skeleton was found with a blade of volcanic glass still stuck in his head. A woman in late pregnancy appeared to have been bound by her hands and feet. The bodies were not buried after their death. Some had fallen into water that has since dried up. Their bones were protected by the Earth's soil. Many experts had thought war did not begin until humans started to form settled communities. But the Nataruk people were hunter-gatherers of an earlier period. They moved from place to place in search of food. Scientist Lar said the findings raise the question of whether warfare has been part of the human experience for much longer than previously thought. The remains include 21 adults and 6 children. Most of the children were younger than 6. For VOA Learning English, I'm Ana Mateo.
From VOA Learning English, this is the Science Report. As the population grows and temperatures rise, it will become more difficult to grow enough food for everyone. So scientists are looking for plants that need less water than today's crops. The U.S. Mojave Desert in California is home to some of these plants. Scientist Heather Rose Cates of the University of Florida searches the desert for a plant called the coyote melon. They are in the same plant family as butternut squash, zucchini, and pumpkins. Those vegetables are popular around the world. Ms. Cates describes the coyote melon's flavor as terrible. She is collecting the coyote melon because it can be grown in places with little rainfall. Other kinds of squash need much more water to grow. Scientists are considering combining wild coyote melon with regular squash to see if they can make a tasty vegetable that doesn't need as much water to grow. Andy Jarvis works at the International Center for Tropical Agriculture. He says farmers will need to produce 50 to 70% more food by 2050 to feed the world. Mr. Jarvis says researchers are studying the wild versions of farm-grown crops. The problem is many wild versions of farm plants and their seeds are disappearing. Ms. Cates is part of an international effort to gather these plants and save their seeds for future use. Workers are collecting wild oats in Cyprus, wild potatoes in Argentina, and wild peppers in Paraguay. The plants and seeds will be sent for storage to the Global Seed Vault in Norway and at Kew Gardens in Britain. For VOA Learning English, I'm Carolyn Presutti.
From VOA Learning English, this is the Science Report. Can the sun provide power for a spaceship to travel to the edge of our solar system? The answer may come from a small satellite. A Delta V rocket carried the satellite into space on May 20th. The rocket was launched from Cape Canaveral Air Force Station in Florida. The satellite is designed to test the effectiveness of what is called solar sail propulsion. Its large sail will catch solar wind and slowly reach what scientists hope to be a high speed. The satellite is called CubeSat. It is about the size of a loaf of bread. A non-profit group called the Planetary Society designed CubeSat. The Society's chief executive officer is science educator Bill Nye. He says the satellite will test whether sunlight can be used as a way to power spacecraft for space travel. He said sunlight has no mass, but it can carry momentum. This means that as light strikes something, it can transfer force to the object. Mr. Nye says a spacecraft with a sail big enough will get a push from light striking it. Scientists believe this method of propulsion will reduce the cost of space exploration for universities and even private individuals. The sail on CubeSat is 32 square meters. It is made of mylar, a material that is only 1/4 the thickness of a human hair. Bill Nye says laboratory tests of the sail were successful. But he said testing the sail in space when it is first deployed will be extremely important. The Planetary Society reported in late May that the satellite had reached its orbit. The group said all of its systems appeared to be operating normally. It said the solar sail can be seen from the Earth in June. For VOA Learning English, I'm Jonathan Evans.
From VOA Learning English, this is the Science Report. The number of buses, taxis, and other vehicles on Kenya's roads is growing every day. Now, the country's first electric-powered motorbike is being made. The bike is designed to cut down on pollution and is aimed at low-income communities. Most motorbikes used in Kenya depend on gasoline as fuel.
But this motorbike uses energy from sunlight. 3 university students developed the new Ecotran bike. It captures the sun's energy, stores it in batteries, and uses it to charge the electric motor. Robert Achauget is one of the student inventors. He said the students hope to be able to cover the whole of Kenya with the electric motorcycle within a few years. We want to conserve the environment and provide affordable transport, he said. Electric power is unpredictable in Kenya. The students have set up a fueling station for the motorbikes in Nairobi. The bike's small battery can run for 70 kilometers when fully charged. Once that power is used up, the motorbike has to return to the fueling station while another charged battery is connected to the bike. The United States government's African Development Foundation is supporting the Ecotran idea. The agency is providing financing for 2 solar-powered charging stations in the Kenyan port of Kisumu. Each Ecotran bike costs about $700. One motorcycle taxi operator says the new bike costs less to operate than bikes running on traditional fuel. Ecotran plans to go to the market with 40 bikes in 2016. For VOA Learning English, I'm Ann Ball.
From VOA Learning English, this is the Science Report. Most Africans still buy their food at busy, poorly organized, open-air food markets. Many Westerners would be uneasy eating food from these markets. But a new study shows that the milk and meat from outdoor markets is often fresher and safer than those foods sold in Africa's Western-style supermarkets. The International Livestock Research Institute in Nairobi carried out the study. It examined food for sale in 8 countries. The results of the study may support business for Africa's small food producers. These producers have long been the main source of food for many Africans, including the poor, those in rural areas, and for those who do not have transportation. The Institute estimates that small outdoor markets still supply as much as 95% of all food eaten in sub-Saharan Africa. And it estimates that Africans will continue to buy most of their food at these markets for many years to come, although supermarkets continue to spread. The Institute's report estimates that by 2040, traditional markets will still supply up to 70% of the food Africans eat. In South Africa, supermarkets say they closely supervise food safety. The ShopRite Group is the largest supermarket company in South Africa. It told VOA that ShopRite's safety rules are even stronger than those required by the government. But even large supermarket companies do not have perfect safety records. Last year, South African food company Tiger Brands stopped selling several rice products because they contained small amounts of dangerous chemicals. For VOA Learning English, I'm Jonathan Evans. From VOA Learning English, this is the Science Report. What happened to Malaysian Airlines Flight 370 almost 2 years ago is still a mystery. The passenger plane was traveling from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, to Beijing, China. The flight disappeared over the Indian Ocean. The plane held 239 people, and all are thought to have died. Experts are still looking for wreckage from the missing Boeing 777 plane. Experts think the Malaysian Airlines plane crashed in very deep waters. An American company, Phoenix International, specializes in underwater searches. It is helping to examine the waters off the western coast of Australia. The company examines large areas of the ocean floor. Parts of the Indian Ocean in the area are 6,000 meters deep. The ocean floor is not easy to explore. An Australian search report said that underwater mountains, deep holes, and very tall, sharp rocks make searching difficult. An underwater search device crashed into a tall mud volcano in January. Its rope split and the device sunk to the ocean floor. But wreckage from 2 ships has been found. Photographs taken underwater found a ship made of steel or iron from the 19th century. Wreckage from another ship was located in May. The only wreckage of Flight 370 found so far was a piece of the plane that washed up on Reunion Island in 2015. Reunion Island is in the western Indian Ocean near Madagascar. The search area is now limited to 60,000 square kilometers near Australia. Investigators say they will end all search efforts in June. For VOA Learning English, I'm Jonathan Evans.